Exercise is a great antidote for stress and for depression.
It is the only thing that gets rid of the chemicals that are released during stress. If you don't exercise, they don't go away, they just remain in your bloodstream. When you exercise, they're actually used up by your large muscles as energy. So once you exercise, your blood becomes clear, you no longer have the physical symptoms of stress, and your thinking then becomes clear and positive again. And as well, your brain releases endorphins, and they are mood elevators. They make you feel positive and confident.
I've got the bell right at home, but hardly use it. I just put it under the bunk.
You use it and see the difference. You will feel much better. The physical symptoms go, and you stop the negative thinking. You start to look at the world in a more positive way again. You need a balance to your life. You need to do things you enjoy. Now, the reason for that is simple. You can only think about one thing at a time. So if you're thinking about things that you enjoy, you're not at the same time thinking about things that distress or trouble you.
We have always been involved in cultural groups, kapahaka. People look at us and think we're crazy when we say that's one way of releasing stress. And yet a lot of people see it, you're adding more stress. It is, but at the same time, the enjoyment you're getting when you get, along the journey it can be frustrating and it can be really neat, but at the end of it all, you say, God, it's all worth it with all the ups, and they say in Māori, ngā piki and ngā heke, the ups and downs. Man, when you see them on stage, you think, God, they're neat little angels. God, they're just too much. So it's worth it.
How do you do this one? Oh, it was a gift.
How do you manage your stress? What are the things that you do that help you?
I talk. I'm a talker. I love talking, and I've got lots of friends, and I talk.
Any other things?
Reading is really good. It's the thing that I can say to the kids, I'm going to read. I don't have to feel guilty about it. It's an okay thing to be doing.
What do I do? I'll probably sound frightfully lazy. Probably should go out and do some exercise, but I don't really. I don't know. Slob out on the couch and watch television. Although I probably don't do a lot of that either, really. I'm not sure what I do.
I think there's no doubt that the human brain does have the potential to be very, very much healthier and very, very much stronger. And the state of mental health for most of the population is quite low. That anxiety and depression, even suicidal thoughts, are quite common in the population, and I don't believe that's normal.
You were going to keep a stress diary. How did that go?
Oh, it's really interesting, actually. It made things worse in one way because I've actually become very aware.
So what did you learn from it?
Well, the physical stuff was really what sort of stood out for me, going rigid.
Annie's got some really good ways of dealing with her stress. Reading and spending time with her friends, doing things that she enjoys. But Annie has had a past trauma, and that makes her more vulnerable to everyday stress. And it is significant that in the beginning of her week, she managed her stress very well. She did extremely well with her thought stopping. However, towards the end of the week, things started to deteriorate, and that's very common when somebody has had past trauma in their lives.
Every day on the radio, on the television, you hear, what the exchange rates are, what the interest rates are. Hordes of people are employed to sort of analyse it and mull over it and interpret it. But we don't have any comparable measure of people's well-being. And yet, ostensibly, the whole purpose of economic development and growth is to improve people's sense of sort of well-being.
I don't think we've got any social goals at all in New Zealand. And I don't think that we have a social ethos which really says, let's do this political stuff in a humane kind of way.
Is it a politically acceptable price to pay to have an increased suicide rate, and what you gain from that is economic liberalism, if you like? That's the political debate which has to happen.
Once I got home from work, I go through the paper. There are some advertisements about jobs.
For Arta, a major cause of her stress was her belief that she could do nothing to change her situation, but she did.
The other thing, I just go to church and join with my friends do some exercise there and some dancing practicing and singing. Plus I go walking. Never hardly go out for walking now. I start taking my kids out for walk. All those feelings I've had's gone. And I said, I feel normal now as anybody.
That's great.
Who hasn't been through that stress. I feel a lot better, a lot healthier now, feel younger too. And I thought myself, I'm as a beautiful woman as anybody else. That's what I thought myself now. I'm not putting myself down anymore now.
Money is scarce and the health system is suffering. Mental health has often come a conspicuous last in terms of the totem pole of priority within health, and that's very dangerous.
Maka and Oliver, hoki mai. I want to hear your song after. You don't jump waka.
Joy has some very good ways of managing her stress. She has a lot of things in her life that she enjoys. She has a good balance to her life. She also has ways of switching off or looking differently at things that upset her. She talks things through with the family.
The answers are within us. We don't need a psychologist to tell us what the answer is. We got our own answers, and together we can get through it.
Any blood pressure's now 130.
A lot of Dean's stress is unavoidable. It's to do with the nature of his job and the fact that he has really limited time. However, he handles the stress well at work. He takes the actions necessary to solve his problems.
And that's my day done at last.
But it does catch up with him at home. He has quite marked physical symptoms of stress, particularly difficulties sleeping and difficulties concentrating on his study.
I've been usually able to sort of put aside about half an hour to 45 minutes a day for exercise.
That's great. The exercise has allowed him to overcome those, but he does need more time in his life so that he can do things that he enjoys, that he can put a balance to his life.
I am desperately trying to make arrangements for some holiday, but the arrangements for someone to cover me are very, very tight, and it's very difficult to arrange that at the moment.
People basically know whether they are okay or not, and that's what we're talking about here, is a level of okayness. At the moment, we've got many, many people who don't feel okay. They feel that they have no personal quality of life. So I think that we could get together as a nation and decide on a number of indicators of what would represent a decent quality of life. At the moment, we simply do not have those social goals.